So we were only making about 4.5 knots and I wanted us to speed up a bit. Boop. Here we are making our way through the Corinth.
If you like our videos, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can find us on Instagram at Sailing on the Breeze.
Today's a big one. We've got to do a 42-mile hop to the next place we're staying, so we're getting off at 6 in the morning today. But it's bloody gorgeous. Look at this sunset, sunrise, even a bit tired still. So this is the view behind me. Got the, you can't even see, got the mainsail up whilst I anchor. So I had the motor on for literally 2 minutes whilst pulling up the anchor, turning around. Now the sun's starting to rise. We've got 8.5 knots of wind, which is good. And we're just starting to make our way. Your love is coming or going. It's been a bit of an on-off wind morning already. We got the first half an hour in on about 10 knots of wind. We were sailing nicely. Then the wind died to nothing just as I got the full main out. Then we motored for about half an hour and now we're back to 8.5 knots of wind. So we're sailing along nicely, making about 4.1 knots. So yeah, we're making good progress. And of the 44 nautical miles we had to do today, we've got 40.5 left. So still most of the way to go. So the wind didn't last too long. About half an hour in, 10 knots of wind disappeared and now we're back to motoring. Sail's still up, just couldn't be bothered to pack the main one away, but I fell the way that you know. I'm hoping the wind comes back. It currently says there's about 5 knots. How do you enjoy motoring, madam?
So loud.
We bought a sailing boat, not a motorboat.
And it's a bit smelly, isn't it?
Motoring along. The wind there is just 2.8 knots. We've had a bit of everything this morning, but the wind never seems to last very long.
We had dolphins, I think there are about, would you say there are 4?
I saw at least 4 dolphins,
Yeah.
Could have definitely been more.
And that was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was cool. We saw them a little bit far away, so we motored over there and we saw a few of them in the water, but then we were hoping they'd sort of follow us along, swim around the boat, but they didn't really do that.
Callum got into his trunks.
Yeah, first thing I did was switch into my trunks, which were luckily by my side.
Still lovely though.
No swimming today.
Feel a bit of breeze.
So we're now coming up to 10 o'clock and we're still having to motor. We got the sails out. There's only about 5 knots of wind, so we're giving us a little boost, but not too much. Flat as a pancake out here, cruising along. Got my rod out. I did see some fish near the surface before, so I'm hoping this is a good spot for it, and a few of them are feeling hungry, and we've got some tasty lures on the back of there. Yeah, so we are now 12 nautical miles into our 44 nautical mile journey, so 32 left to go. Keep you updated. So the time now is 11:20. Still motor sailing, more motoring than sailing to be honest. There's only 4 knots of wind. Fingers crossed some wind comes back. It is supposed to build in the afternoon, so hopefully it does sooner rather than later. But yeah, we're getting a bit bored of chugging along, but we've got the auto helm on, so we're doing a few bits, tidying things up, hanging out in the cockpit, building. I guess about 7, then turn this engine off. I want us to get out of here. I want to run along the lines and test your fears of flowing. So update, the engine is off. The time now is about 2:30, but we turned it off probably. How long ago did we turn off the engine? An hour? Yeah, we turned off the engine a while ago. We made a rule last night that we weren't going to turn the engine off unless we were going over 3 knots, so we broke our rule. We were doing about 2.4 to begin with, but we were just sick of the engine being on. So we turned it off to have lunch and have a little swim off the back. And now here we are making, what, round 3?
Yeah.
We're doing round 3. So we're making progress, but is slow. We've got about 16 knots today, 15?
We've got 15 left.
15 left to go. So 3 knots, that's still 5 hours of sailing, so that's still a while. But we're hoping it's going to be building and building, and then we'll be shooting along about 4 or 5 knots in a bit. Here Melissa is dodging ferries. There's a green one over here, blue one over here, blue and white one over there, and then these two.
Are we gonna get under? Moment of truth. We did it!
Hey all, so we're hiking to a castle high on a hill. We've been in Greece over a month now.
Yeah.
Been on the water just over 2 weeks. We're feeling like we're really getting in the hang of sailing, and our stern 2 moorings are getting much better, and we're getting pretty slick at dropping the anchor and doing all sorts of things. And yeah, we start to push into the what's it, Corinth Canal? No,
Yeah. Gulf of Corinth.
Gulf of Corinth. We're making our way towards the Corinth Canal, which we're going to try and go through.
Monday?
Yeah, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And we're just enjoying Naxos, a really beautiful town. It's got a really old harbour wall. The harbour is tiny though. Good job we didn't try and get our boat in there. So we anchored out last night and we're now tied onto their pontoon, and we're loving it.
It's amazing.
So our boat is, where's our boat? Our boat is over there. It's behind that yacht, super yacht, motor yacht. Oh, yeah. We're loving it, but it is hot. So halfway up the climb, tell me about your first 2 weeks on the water. Have they met your expectations?
I didn't have loads of expectations. I knew we were going to have a great time and it would be an adventure, and it's been both of those things. But I think there's definitely, it felt more like real life than a holiday. Which has been so cool, and Ethos has felt like our home as soon as she was on the water, really. So yeah, we've been able to see amazing places, and that's what we both wanted. So
because I would say our first 2 weeks on the water have thrown us more challenges than I thought they probably would have done, particularly the first week. The second week has been a bit smoother, touch wood. But we've had winds, we think, up to about 50 knots, definitely well over 40. Well, luckily, whilst anchored and tied up, we've
had thunder, we've had lightning.
We've had winds well into the 30s whilst on the water, and also coming on quite quickly as well, which was not really expected. We thought, particularly Ionian, we thought the winds were very stable and predictable, but that hasn't always been the case for us. But we've been fine so far. Throttle cable snapped, but it snapped in the best way it could ever snap, is when we were tied up. Our anchor had dragged a bit, but there wasn't much wind. There was plenty of opportunity to drop in our kedge anchor to secure us, and luckily there was some chandlery nearby that could get hold of a new cable by the next morning. So it was all, in terms of for the throttle cable to snap, it was the best time for it to happen. Yeah. We had a few other issues as well, but I mean, so far nothing has been a game stopper, and we've been able to carry on and sail, and yeah, I'm really happy with the boat. Really feel really safe on her, secure. So, can you tell us what's happened here?
We took the path less travelled.
Yeah, in the woods.
The reason it's less travelled.
In the woods, the road diverged, and we took the path less travelled. And we led to the gates of the castle, but unfortunately the gates are locked, so we've got to go back and take the road.
And Cal's moody at me.
I'm not moody at you. Don't know if you can see, but that is Ethos. Right there. And this is the bridge we came under yesterday. Word to the wise, you're supposed to radio before you go under the bridge. We didn't realise, but it's fine.
What a great view. We have just left Naxos. It's a speckle in the distance, even though we only left about 20 minutes ago. I don't know if you can hear, but we've got some strong winds. It's been up to 29 knots, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, up to 29 knots, but it's kind of staying around
27 now.
27. We've got 3/4 of the Genoa out and we're cruising along. We absolutely both love nav Paxos and definitely recommend whether you're like sailing or just want to find somewhere in Greece, because it's just beautiful. It's not massive, so it's good for us because we only spent 2 nights there. But we walked all the way up to the top of the castle and went for a drink, and we could see Ethos on the harbour. Well, we stayed on the pontoon, but you can see like all the old harbour wall, and it was just beautiful. But yeah, we loved it, but we're so happy to be back out on the water. We're fully stocked because we did a really big food shop. So I think we're going to look for somewhere maybe to anchor tonight.
The beer drawer is all full again.
Yeah.
We'd emptied it.
Yeah, we emptied all the beer, so we had to restock. So now, how many did you get?
3 packs of 24, so 70.
Whatever that is.
72.
A lot of beer. So yeah, we're ready to spend a few nights on our own, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, training jobs.
Where are we going, Delphi? So we have left Trisonia, the only inhabited island in the Gulf of Corinth, and we are heading towards Delphi, which is about 26 nautical miles.
It's actually Itia where we...
I got it wrong. Itia, but when we're in Itia, we're going to get a taxi to Delphi and have a look at the ruins. The wind speed now is about 15 knots. We've got 2 reefs in the main and the whole Genoa out. We did have just 1 reef in the Genoa, but then in the main, but then the wind speed picked up to about 19 knots. So we thought we'll reef early and keep it safe, keep it friendly and fun. Yeah, so we're just tacking up into the wind. If you look around, it's pretty good.
Life is good.
We really enjoyed Trisonia as well. We highly recommend it to anyone. The guidebook we read is 13 years out of date, and it said there were no motor vehicles on the island. We were disappointed to find out there are now motor vehicles on the island. No roads, just sort of dirt tracks, but it's quite cool. We went for a bit of a walk around and it was lovely.
It's also like not very busy at all there, so it was really unspoiled. Also quite nice to go somewhere where you're kind of the only few boats and there's not really that many people, so that was really lovely as well.
Hey, so we're sat on the bow, cruising along. And do you want to tell us about what's happened with the wind today?
Yeah, we started off with some good wind. It was like ranging between 15 and I think we got up to 19 knots.
Yeah.
So we put in reefs because we thought from our experience that can quickly blow up. We got a couple of hours of sailing, and we were sailing until we weren't really going much over 1 knot, but we were just really enjoying it. And then we kind of thought, let's be sensible and try and get to the next place. So we put the engine on about, what would you say, an hour and a half, 2 hours ago?
Yeah, switching motors and stuff.
But at least that means we can both sit up at the bow and just enjoy the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful view.
So yeah, we're just enjoying it. We've been
So lovely.
spotting jellyfish in the water.
Lots of jellies.
Yeah. So after a lot of motoring with no real sailing, we kept the main up, and on the last 4.5 nautical miles into Itia, the wind's picked up. We now got 10.2 knots. And we're cruising, we're making around 4.4, 4.5 knots. Got a beer on the go, just had some crisps.
Opened a beer to celebrate.
Yeah, we're living the dream. Engines off, which is amazing.
Oh, it's so lovely.
Cruising.
'Cause last night I dreamt of you, and I woke up
Generating a little bit of
smiling.
wind up there. So a bit of a mad dash this morning.
Why are we always about dashing?
Yeah, exactly. We're off to Delphi to see the ruins. I set an alarm on my phone for 6:45 in the morning, but for some reason it didn't go off. Greek epic. Heading into the mountains to find Delphi. Getting our first glimpses of Delphi, the ancient monuments.
We've just got to Galaxy City and we're about to go for an explore and we're feeling on top of the world. And then of course something happens. Cam notices something shiny in the bilge, and so he opened up the bilge and it's got probably about a centimetre and a half of water. And for all the non-boat people, the bilge is the lowest point in the boat, is that right? The lowest point in the boat, so if any water is in the boat it will all run down to there, so it's like a bit of a safety net. So now we have to work out like what's leaking. I tested it and it is not salt water, so that means it's likely one of our water tanks. So Cam's just in the front cabin having a look and see our front water tank. That's why we're doing the wheelie. What have you found?
So, we think we found the culprit. If you look over here, I've cleaned this up a bit, I'm going to continue to do that, and I put some sterilising powder in there. So this bit here is the sensor that tells us basically how full or empty our water tank is, and it's supposed to be completely secure on there so no water can come out. But as you can see, there's play in it, and if you look carefully at this nut, you'll notice there's a little gap there and there shouldn't be. So that should be holding that on there securely, and this should be silicone round, but it's not. So because of that movement, the water's been seeping out of here, seeping into here, and down there whenever the boat heels over, which when we're sailing is quite a lot of the time. And because this tank's been completely full, the water's been right up at the top, ready to lean over. And it's not a huge volume in the bilge, maybe 7-8 litres that we've extracted. So it's not huge given that this is like a 150 litre tank. So I think that's the issue, which is actually best. Hello. Oh, who is your friend? Kira? Hey, so we are in the jewel in the crown of the Corinth in Galaxy City, and it is actually pretty gorgeous.
It is lovely.
So we're here just strolling along.
It feels very Greek, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I was on a bit of a hunt last night for parts to fix the water tank, just the bit that was leaking, and so I had to hunt all through this place, and it's actually really pretty, and it goes back way further than we thought, and it's actually really nice, and the people are really friendly. I found this one DIY shop. I showed her the part I'd broken and needed a new one of, and she was rummaging around and she couldn't find the part. She said there was another DIY shop, so I went to them. They didn't have anything, but when I was walking back past her shop, she said, come, I found this one, this part. Well, how would you explain it? It was like
part in a different part.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like
part of a part.
It looked the same size, but it was all part of this some bit of plumbing. I don't know what it was. So she's like, the only way you'll be able to tell is if you break it and see. So I bought it because it was only €2.50 and then broke it, and she was right. It was the same size. It was basically a plastic nut. Hopefully no more water leaks now. We'll have to see. So sorry we didn't get any better footage. We got a bit overwhelmed by excitement when the dolphins started coming around the boat. There were maybe like 10 in the pod, split into about 3 groups. And at one point, one was swimming by the bow, and they were sort of around the boat a little bit, but they didn't really hang around. They sort of swam off, and we thought if they want to play, they'd stay around the boat. So we didn't go off and chase them, but we'd already got our ball fender on a bit of rope towing behind the boat, and we were ready to jump in and be in the water with dolphins. I've never done that, and we think that would be amazing. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm now wet. We actually, separate from the other pod, we just saw some fins as we were motoring on. So we thought, oh, some more dolphins, great, this time we're not gonna mess it up. So I quickly tied on our ball fender on the back on a bit of rope, let it out, I don't know, 4 meters, 5 meters, and then grabbed a diving mask, and as they were coming to the boat, I jumped in the water, and then I was in the water being towed behind the boat, and I could see them swimming just to the right, just to the starboard side of our bow. 2 of them, I couldn't see a third, Melissa could see a third, but and then they turned around and they sort of swam right past me on the back, and then I was sort of trying to look to the back to see if I could see them behind me, but because the boat's propeller's going and I was there was so many bubbles in the water. When I looked back, I couldn't really see much. But no, I think they swam off after that, but it was really cool even to see them for what literally was probably probably 30 seconds.
Yeah.
They weren't around for long, but they were out of the boat for a little bit and then they swam back. So maybe 30 seconds, it really wasn't much, but it was cool.
Next time is my turn.
Yes, that was my time, and now Melissa's turn next time if there's dolphins to go in the water on the back and just see them. When, exactly. So as you can see with that, oh my god, this is... You're fine. Literally so many dolphins going right past the bow of the boat. They're splashing. Are you okay back there? Oh my god, they're doing little jumps. They are going wild. So here, in the mist, over there is the Corinth Canal, which we will, at some point in the next few hours, hopefully be passing through. We're still probably 5 or 6 nautical miles away now. And when we get about 2 away, 1, 2 away, we're gonna radio in, let them know that we are looking to pass through. And then they'll tell us at what time we can pass through.
Corinth Canal, Corinth Canal, Corinth Canal. This is sailing vessel Ethos, Ethos. We are 1.8 nautical miles outside of the west entrance and would like to cross through the canal. Over.
Okay, Ethos, tell me your length overall.
Our length is 11.8. We will be paying cash.
Okay, Ethos, come and wait outside the breakwater and stand by there for instructions.
Shall I say how far out we are? Roger that. I've just come up from radioing the Corinth Canal authorities to let them know we are 1.8 nautical miles away from the west entrance.
So, I don't know if you can hear, but there's no engine going on now. The wind has picked up. It's about, I don't know, 12 knots coming from pretty much directly behind us, which is great. So we've got the Genoa out and we're now cruising along at 3.5 knots towards the canal. I wasn't feeling that excited this morning, but now I'm actually feeling pretty excited. Now we're getting here, we've radioed in. I'm excited to see it. I've heard great things.
We just heard back from the canal authorities on the radio and they told us that we should expect to transit in 1 hour. So we have just anchored up outside of the breakwater, had their instructions. Yeah, we're just going to read our book
And also, I think rather funnily, the wind now is about 12 knots blowing us directly towards the Corinth Canal. Yet for the last week we've been fighting our way to get here. So it's funny how the wind does that. But there you go. Can you tell me what it's like to helm a boat through the Corinth Canal?
It's actually very tidal.
Yeah.
You can feel the tide really pushing against us. We're going full whack. Engine's doing well then. And we're only going about 3 knots.